very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them, that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also, and their brethren that should be killed, as they were, should be fulfilled. Revelation chapter 6, verse 9 to 11. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone on down. And peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson, lowell and beatifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just want to go into this article real quick. Pretty much at the time of the beginning stages of that persecution, all right, that we've been talking about here, that's all going to also commence during the time of Jacob's trouble, once it really, really intensifies. All right, and over the years, you know, we've been bringing out information on how America is going to become a police state. All right, and pretty much it's going to be a global police state, if you will, but America is going to be like the forefront of it. All right, just like she is with everything else. All right, and this is also the main event, right? The land of the main event that's going to happen at the end of the age of this kingdom. Okay, America's destruction. All right, we brought that out the other day in Revelation 18. Okay, and that's the closing. All right, the closing. But before we get to that point, America's going to make war against the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, pretty much the whole entire nation, but predominantly the elect. All right, and in those days, we're going to see the Lord bestow his men with spiritual power. Okay, spiritual power from on high, just like in the Black Jesus story. Okay, really not a story, but it was more of a documentation of an event that happened. Okay, and of course, it was classified for a very long time, but of course, it leaked out. Okay, and they're also talking about some type of alien unveiling sometime this year. All right, so we know that that's all part of the Lord getting closer and closer, and these devils knowing that they have but a short time. Okay, so they're about to go crazy, which leads to this article here. It says, Israel's assassination list of dissidents hacked, millions of Americans slated for destruction. Okay, and remember, like I said, from time to time, we bring out information on what kind of state America is going to be in the very near future. Okay, and that state is going to be one of the most draconian state anyone has ever experienced. As the scripture says, a time like never before. When we go into the book of Ezekiel, let's get that real quick. All right, we bring this out all the time because that's why we're here, is to give warning. Okay. The book of Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4 says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof." And obviously, that midst thereof is talking about America, Babylon the Great. Okay, all the abominations that be happening, as the scriptures tell you in the book of, I believe, Revelation 17. All right, the mother of harlots. All right, and of the abominations of the earth. Okay, so all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof is right here in America, because America is not, even though they preach it like it's a Judeo-Christian system, we know it's not. All right, this is a very secular system. All right, not religious, very secular. When you go into different countries, they have an identity, whether it be Islam or Buddhism or Christianity. Right, there are certain places, mostly Roman Catholicism. When I say Christianity, is Roman Catholicism, those kinds of energy, right? That mindset, it's very apparent and prevalent when you go into certain countries. But here in the States, anything goes, right? They don't really have a true identity when it comes to any type of religion, if you will. It's not a Muslim country. It's not a Christian country. It's just a country. It's just a big ass city. You know what I'm saying? And anything goes. You know what I'm saying? So, that gives you a little example of the abominations, right? It doesn't stand for anything that's righteous. Okay. So it says here, and going back a few sentences up, the word mark is used. All right. When you go to that word mark in the Hebrew is thawa, which is what? A mark from exemption from judgment. All right. It's a mark of exemption from judgment. So that mark is going to be upon the elect, starting with the men. Okay. The prophets on down. Those are the ones that the Lord is giving the angel the heads up that when you go over there, you're not gonna mess with the men that have the mark. Okay, you're going to your job, right? Let's read that again. The Lord said unto him, "Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the forehead." So make them exempt, right? When you go back, before the Lord brings destruction onto a land, He will always send spies out. He will always send messengers out to either give warning or to give warning. Okay, so that's the same thing that the prophets are here to do. We're here to give warning, as it tells you in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter, the 17th verse. Okay, so even when we were about to take over, all right, from the wilderness, I believe our first city that we took over was Jericho. Okay, and prior to that takeover, Joshua sent 2 spies. Right, he sent spies out to go to the land of Jericho and go spy out the land before we make that move. Okay, and when he went there, that's when he met the spies met Rahab, right? Rahab the harlot, right? The infamous Rahab the harlot vocab, but that's an example of the Lord, in our culture, at least, right? In our customs, as our nation goes, before we go to war, we'll always go spy out the land. All right, and that's a tactic that we get from the Lord, as above, so below. All right, on earth as it is in heaven. So the Lord always sends His angels out. Before He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, He sent His angels out there. All right, to get Lot out the way, him and his family. Okay, to speak to Abraham as well. You see, before that destruction came. Okay, before the destruction of the flood came, He gave the Spirit onto Noah to prophesy, to give warning, and then the flood came. So it's the same thing here. The Lord has sent His prophets out here to give warning of that impending danger, that impending doom, the destruction that's coming. And part of that destruction is going to be by the sword. Okay, let's get that. All right, in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, start off at verse 5. It says, it's a book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 5. Actually, let's start off at verse 4. It says, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." All right, those who are unbelieving. All right, unfaithful is going to unbelief. All right, it says, verse 5, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world." All right, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Now, the ultimate sword is what? The nuclear missiles, but the lesser sword, you go into what? The guns, the modern day guns, the guns. All right. So the sword is being furbished, right? Ezekiel 7. The sword is being furbished, that evil that's coming, right? It says here, going to Ezekiel 9, it says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, right? So the first angel gets the order, go put that mark upon those men, right? Those are the spies. Go put the mark upon those men who are exempt from the judgment that's coming. And in the second wave, right, and the others, he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So as soon as the elect are sealed, the judgment reigns, right? As soon as the MVPs are set up in their seats and they're good to go, the judgment reigns, right? This is the key. Verse 6, slay utterly. And you notice is the 6th verse. That number 6 carries a vibration that Esau is always tapping into. Okay, so in the very 6th verse, it says, slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children. So you get why they have this bloodthirsty energy. To them, that's a mandate. You know, because the Lord says he's using, King David said that the Lord's sword, basically Esau is the Lord's sword. All right. So they have that spirit on them that, of course, what does the sword do? It's used for war. So they have that spirit, you know, by that sword shall thou live. That was a blessing. So they use their blessing, you know. They want to use that gun. They use that gun. All right. It says, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. Right. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Okay. So this leads right into, all right, the article. All right. Let's read. It says, at the core of Israel's global shadow empire sits a ruthless machine of espionage and blackmail. And espionage basically means spying, okay? And it's not only world leaders under their gun. You are too. Remember years ago we brought out the red list, yellow list, and the blue list, right? And how FEMA is going to go around in the time of martial law. They're going to be going around house to house, door to door, with whatever explanation they're going to give, whatever excuse they're going to use to circumvent the Constitution, which really in the time of martial law, there is no Constitution, right? You're under military rule. That's why it's called martial law. Okay. So in that state, right? In a state of being policed like that, you have all these limitations, all because of what? Oh, we need to keep you safe. So under safety rules, they could come up with all kinds of different shit, or even under emergency rules, they could come up with all kinds of stuff to be justified in going house to house, door to door, finding out what's going on and taking people out their houses. Okay, they're going to be grabbed out. 2 Ezra 16. Okay, they shall be like madmen sparing none. That time is coming. Okay, it says if you have ever criticized Israel or Netanyahu, your data has been scraped and you have been put on their list. Right? Remember David Goldberg when he gave that interview, right? And he talked about how the U.S. government right now, as it stands, is panicking because of the negative attention that Israel is getting, right? The American people are not falling for those tricks no more. They're not really in support of Israel like they did before, years ago, decades ago, when the propaganda was still working on them, when the witchcraft was still working. See? But now people are questioning things. People are not going along with the plan no more. There's a lot of pushback. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of noticing going on. There's a lot of criticism going on, right? Of Israel, that is. The Zionists. Okay? So they had to come up with a system on how do we track who's doing all this talking, right? Because it's spreading information online and people are watching these videos and listening to them and actually researching and being like, yo, talking about this, what we've been knowing this whole time doesn't really make sense. The Hebrew Israelites are now in the frame. Everybody's talking about the Hebrew Israelites, and Vocab come in here starting some shit, and now he done helped even spread the word even more. Because he brought the Christians into the frame. He didn't even realize what he was doing, right? But he brought the so-called Christian audience into the frame and introduced the Hebrew Israelite doctrine to the Christians. He did that by trying to debunk it and try to fight it. That's what the Apostle Paul said. We could do nothing against the truth but for the truth. right? You can't come try to overcome the word, the words of the Lord. What did Gamaliel say? Right? It says, if this be of the Most High, if this be of men, it shall come to naught. But if this be of the Most High, there's nothing you could do against this. All right? At least you find yourself fighting against the Most High. You just find a you know what I'm saying, a worthless battle. Okay? So you notice he's been kind of tailing down lately because he's seeing the reality, like, yo, yeah, these are the Israelites, which he knows. But his job was to come and try to, you know, sow doubt and you know, shit like that. But by doing that, you woke up a lot more people. All right? You woke up a lot more people, and that's the word, that's the working of the Lord. Right? He said, this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole entire world, and then the end shall come. All right? So thank you, Vocab. You did your job. All right, so continue back in the article. It says, here is what we know. Right before the U.S. and Israel launched all-out regime change war on Iran, Iranian state hackers executed a stunning cyber heist, gaining access to the terabytes of Israel's darkest secrets, military plans, preparations for false flags, and compromat, exposing vast surveillance operations inside America, including lists of millions of Americans they have slated for destruction. Okay? That goes into what I was saying earlier about David Goldberg and his interview, and he talked about how the Israelis are scared. People are talking too much, criticizing too much. So they came up with this thing called Tag, Trace, and Identify, TTID. Okay? So they set up all these COINTELPRO, you got what's the other one? Controlled Opposition, Controlled Op. Okay, all these different characters that you see that are very popular, right? Gatekeeper channels and so on and so forth. And they'll tell you some truths just to bring people in, right? It starts innocently. And then once they get you in, they start turning. All of a sudden, you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And if you're not rooted and solid in truth, you're going to go along with the truth that they're giving you, right? Which is all falsehoods, right? You build a cult following, if you will. They deviate from what they really started off with, and now it becomes more about them rather than what they came up saying. You know, like Candace Owens and Alex Skull and Bones Jones and all these different people that you see. Those are all gatekeeper channels. They say enough, but they don't push the envelope too far. You see? So those people are set up to get those other people who are in the woodwork, hiding somewhere. So these people are put out there. You go watch them. You click a video, you watch, boom. They track your IP address. A VPN doesn't work. VPNs are mostly owned by the Israelis anyway, right? So they're able to track, you know, who you are, but it's still, there's some type of anonymity there. So now you start these countries, you guys start seeing these countries talking about linking your social media platforms to your digital government issued ID. Right? So now it's less of anonymity and more of accountability, right? Responsibility, you know? Oh, now if you want to say something, you put a name on it. Now we know exactly who you are, where you live, and so on and so forth. And we can use it against you. See? We can use it against you. So it's desperation, right? And it's all leading into what is prophesied in Revelation 13:11, going into the lamb that spake as the lamb that had two horns, like the dragon that had two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Let's get that real quick. The beast that had two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon, and that's very important. Okay, the spake as a dragon part is very important because that goes into draconian measures. Okay, you got people who say, oh, you know, Jacob's trouble is gay, and oh, we're not going to see no Jacob's trouble, and peace and safety. It's like, nah, bro, listen. The times we're about to enter into is a time of judgment. Okay? It's days that leads to the nuclear, the ultimate judgment, the nuclear destruction part. That's America getting destroyed. But the people in America, they're going to face judgment before the fire rains over here, man. Okay? And as we read in 2 Ezra 15, that form of judgment, which is also spoken or used as the word plagues, all right? The sword is part of it. Okay, and the sword is going to come down during the time of draconian measures. All right, this is a book of Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and that beast is talking about America, And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that spake as a dragon part is about to play out soon. Okay, going to word Draco. Okay. So this is America is going to be pushing the same rhetoric that Israel is going to be pushing. They've always done it, and they'll continue to do so. Okay. So it says, according to Israel, Americans' God-given right to free speech no longer applies. Netanyahu has overruled it. American citizens exercising their First Amendment rights to free speech will now be punished by Israel. Bottom line, once you're on their list, every loan application, every emergency payment request, every school application, every credit card gives them another chance to ruin your life. They'll freeze your accounts without warning because Stephen Miller, another J, he said that shit. You know, we're going to come after you. We're going to take your money. We're going to arrest you. We're going to put you in prison. All this bullshit. Right? So they'll freeze your account without warning. And that will also lead into when the system is set up for the implementation of the MOTB, accounts are going to be frozen. And the only way you can freeze it is by doing, what you need, you're going to be told to do. All right. Bring them hands and bring them foreheads, baby. That's the times when that's the next step, man. Okay. Deny you jobs, security clearances, government benefits, even the disability payments you earn bleeding for your country. This is all going to be part of the CHIP. Okay. It says this is not an exaggeration. And if you still think getting arrested for a social media post is a British problem, you need to wake up and fast. Congress is already drafting the legislation for Israel to demand the arrest and imprisonment of U.S. citizens for social media posts they don't like. Okay? They're not hiding it anymore. All right? They're bragging about it. It says, here's Florida Representative Randy Fine declaring it's, quote, definitely happening, end quote. What does this mean? It means Israel is in charge and they are not even bothering to hide it anymore. While missiles fly in the Gulf, the real war has gone fully digital. A cage is being welded shut around every one of us. Algorithms choke dissent, and that's going into censorship. And that's all leading into another prophecy known as the famine of the word. See, so everything is all playing out. As is written in Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, though it tarry, wait for it, for it surely come, it will not tarry. It's all happening. It's like once it happens, it kicks. Mad different prophecies start happening all at the same. You're like, damn, this is wow. They might be connected. Some may not be connected, but sometimes when you actually look at it, it's something that leads to the next thing. You see, it's in succession. Though it tarry, wait for it will surely come. Once it comes, it will not tarry. It's like succession. It doesn't stop, right? So it says, algorithms choke dissent, devices are hacked. Okay, accounts vanish overnight. Personal lives are ruined, destroyed. Critics wake up to frozen finances, IRS audits, and the authorities knocking on their door. Even more disturbingly, Israel's assassination culture is back in full swing. And a former Mossad chief has admitted they are manipulating devices in the U.S. as we speak. Okay? And we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay? These devils are openly declaring themselves to be the man of sin. Just straight up. The son of perdition. Okay? So yeah, man, it's coming. It's coming. All right? It's coming. That time is here. And the Lord is going, hey, let's get this real quick. Let's get this in the book of Ezekiel. There's a book of Ezekiel. Oh, I think I misquoted it. I think I said Ezekiel the 7th chapter. I was thinking of the evil that's coming, as is written in Ezekiel the 7th chapter. But the sword that I was referring to is in Ezekiel the 21st chapter. Let's get that real quick. It's like, yeah, I got some allergies going on. It's this time of the year. I get my ass kicked, so just bear with me here. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, and verse 8. It says, again, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. Okay, once again, a sword is also one of the plagues that which the Lord is going to use to bring the judgment upon the face of this earth, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay, you're about to see it. Okay, it says it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. Sore slaughter. Have no pity. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. Okay, a terrible time is coming. Sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? Huh? Should we be? Let's get lit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we out here. Oh, we out. What's the phrase they use? We outside. Yeah, that phrase. Man, it's gonna be an interesting summer. It says, it contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. Okay? And Bibi Yahoo is giving you exactly, whether it is this AI or him popping out of the woodwork, whatever. All right? I still believe he's out of here because the videos, I remember seeing the videos of him in real life when he was around Trump the last time he was around here. He looked old. I was looking, I'm like, damn, what's nigga look mad old, bro? What the hell? Wrinkly, ears looking mad big, head looked big as hell, neck looking a little skinny. You know, he looked like he was almost out of here, old. And then now you seen all these videos. I'm like, well, where the wrinkles at, man? Like, it's just, all right, you know, AI, you know. But anyway, that's just my personal belief, right? He could be alive, he could be dead, who knows, who cares? All that matters is prophecy is picked up and is going on full speed. All right, so buckle up. That's all I care about. All right, it says, verse 12, it says, cry and howl, son of man, for it shall be upon my people. That's Jacob's trouble. That's Jacob's trouble. It shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. Okay? And mad people going to be cooked because of that. All right? Mad people going to be cooked because of that. These people, these Israelis, these Zionists, their attention is about to hit straight to you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. At the end of it all this shit that's going on, when it's all said and done and the dust settles, they're going to turn their attention straight to your so-called communities. Okay, you Jakes, you about to get this thing full throttle, man. All right? They're coming for you. That's why it's called the time of Jacob's trouble. They're not doing all this shit just to, because Jake has woken up. All right? And there's too much gold. They come full speed. All these other empires, at some point, they did it. All right? And now that Esau has been exposed, he's about to act reckless. Okay? He's about to act reckless, man. Okay? And that's why this is written. And we're going to close it out. There's a book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. Right? Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. His time of rulership is almost up. All right? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So in his mind, if he could destroy Jacob, then there will be nothing to follow. He could stay on and rule forever. So he's about to make war. All right? Against the saints. All right? Against the Most High's people. And the Lord's going to definitely step in. All right? Anyway, I'm going to end it off there. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Until next time, Shalom.